Welcome to this explosive edition of entertainment news where the world of Hollywood collides with British morning television in the most unexpected way imaginable. Imagine the set of ITV's beloved Lorraine, bathed in soft morning light, with its cozy sofas, steaming mugs of tea, and the ever-enthusiastic host Lorraine Kelly ready to charm her latest A-list guest. Today, that guest is none other than George Clooney, the silver fox of cinema, the humanitarian heartthrob who's graced screens from Ocean's 11 to The Midnight Sky, and whose effortless charisma has melted hearts for decades. But what starts as a routine promotional chat for his latest directorial venture, a gritty political thriller titled Shadows of Influence, quickly spirals into a maelstrom of tension that leaves jaws on the floor across the nation. As the cameras roll on this crisp October morning in 2025, the audience at home sips their coffee, unaware they're about to witness a clash that could redefine celebrity interviews forever. Lorraine, with her trademark Scottish warmth and quick wit, kicks off the segment with praise for Clooney's storied career, reminiscing about his Batman days and his Nespresso ads that have become cultural staples. "George, you've been the king of cool since the 90s, so tell us, how does it feel to be back behind the camera with such a timely film?" she asks, her eyes sparkling with genuine admiration. Clooney, dressed in an impeccably tailored navy suit that hugs his still athletic frame at 64, flashes that million-dollar smile and dives in, his voice smooth as aged whiskey. He talks passionately about Shadows of Influence, a film that dives deep into the murky waters of media manipulation and political lobbying, inspired by real-world events that hit a little too close to home for the actor-activist. The initial banter flows like a well-rehearsed script, laughs about his twins, Alexander and Ella, now toddling into mischief at home with a light-hearted nod to his friendship with Brad Pitt, who's rumored to cameo in the film, and even a cheeky aside about how directing keeps him young, or at least looking like "I haven't aged since her." The studio audience chuckles, the crew nods approvingly, and for a moment, it feels like the perfect synergy of Hollywood glamour and daytime tele-charm. But beneath the surface, there's a subtle undercurrent, a flicker in Clooney's eyes that suggests he's holding back, waiting for the right or wrong moment to unleash what's really on his mind. As Lorraine steers the conversation toward the film's provocative themes, probing gently about Clooney's own brushes with political controversy, the air thickens ever so slightly. She's done her homework, referencing his outspoken criticism of figures like Donald Trump during the 2024 election cycle, and how Shadows mirrors those battles. Clooney appreciates the setup, leaning forward with that intense gaze that made him a star. "Lorraine, it's terrifying how influence peddling shapes our world. I've seen it firsthand, from Sudan to Washington," he says, his tone shifting from playful to profound. The host nods empathetically, her bob haircut bobbing in agreement, but then she pivots, injecting a bit of British cheekiness. "And George, with your star power, you're no stranger to pulling strings yourself, are you?" "I mean, those Clooney charm offensives at the very persuasive." It's meant as a compliment, a nod to his activism, but something in the delivery lands differently. Clooney's smile tightens, just a fraction, and the room holds its breath. What follows is the spark that ignites the powder keg, a seemingly innocuous question that unravels into a debate on celebrity ethics, media bias, and the very nature of public discourse. As the clock ticks toward the commercial break, not the producers in the control booth, not the makeup artist hovering off-camera could predict the fireworks about to erupt. This is the story of how a man who's faced down dictators found himself facing off against a national treasure, all in the name of morning entertainment. Buckle up, viewers, because from here, the script rides itself into infamy, with every word a potential headline, every pause a dramatic beat in a narrative that's sequel parts tragedy and tabloid gold. And as we delve deeper, remember, in the glare of the spotlight, even the smoothest operators can trip over their own polished lines. The stage is set, the players assembled, and now, let the clash commence, in all its unfiltered, unapologetic glory. As the interview delves deeper into the heart of Shadows of Influence, the conversation takes a sharper turn, with Lorraine Kelly pressing George Clooney on the film's thinly veiled allusions to contemporary scandals that have rocked the entertainment industry. "She's sharp, our Lorraine," With over 4 decades in broadcasting under her belt, having helmed this show since 2010 after years on GMTV, where her disarming blend of empathy and edge has elicited confessions from the likes of Oprah and Obama. Today, she's zeroing in on a subplot involving a charismatic director accused of using his platform to silence critics, a narrative thread that's got tongues wagging about parallels to recent Hollywood reckonings. George, this character of yours, the mogul who trades favors for loyalty, it's awfully reminiscent of those whispers in Tinseltown, isn't it? You must have drawn from life, she says, her Scottish lilt adding a layer of playful accusation that's signature. Kelly Clooney, ever the diplomat, chuckles at first, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair, but there's a steeliness emerging in his posture, shoulders squaring as if bracing for impact. He counters gracefully, Lorraine, fiction lets us explore truths without naming names. It's about patterns, not people. But yes, the industry has its shadows, and shining a light is why I make these films. The audience murmurs in approval, sensing the gravitas. But Lorraine, undeterred and fueled by the adrenaline of live TV, leans in closer, her eyes twinkling with mischief. Come on now, George, you're not fooling anyone. With your production company, Smokehouse Pictures, you've navigated those waters yourself. Remember the Ocean's trilogy of deals cut in boardrooms that would make a lobbyist blush? It's a jab wrapped in jest, referencing the franchise's behind-the-scenes negotiations, but Clooney's expression shifts, the easy smile fading into a line of quiet resolve. He pauses, the kind of weighted silence that stretches eternally on air, and responds with measured intensity. Lorraine, let's be clear, there's a vast chasm between entertaining deals and the kind of manipulation my film condemns. I've fought for transparency, not traded in it. The studio lights seem to brighten, casting long shadows across the set, as the host senses the pivot from banter to battle. Undaunted, she presses on, her voice rising with that infectious energy that keeps 1.5 million viewers tuned in daily. But isn't that the Clooney magic? You charm the world into your corner. Amal must be proud. But what about the little guy who's starstruck into silence? Clooney's jaw sets, and for the first time, a flash of irritation crosses his features, reminiscent of his portrayal of the brooding fixer in Michael Clayton. He fires back, starstruck. That's a romantic notion, Lorraine. In reality, power imbalances silence far more than charm ever could, and dismissing it as magic trivializes the victims. The words hang heavy, the audience shifting uncomfortably in their seats, whispers rippling through the rows like a gathering storm. Back in the control room, producers exchange frantic glances. Do they cut to break, ride it out? But Lorraine, a veteran of awkward moments from celebrity meltdowns to royal gaffes, doubles down with a laugh that's equal parts nervous and defiant. Oh, George, you're taking me far too seriously. It's just Talia, lighten up, or we'll have to talk about your tequila instead. Yet the levity falls flat, and Clooney, his voice dropping to that velvety timbre laced with edge, retorts, lighten up, this isn't a joke, Lorraine. My film and my life's work is about holding power to account, not papering over it with chit-chat. The temperature plummets, the cozy set suddenly feeling like a gladiatorial arena, with the host's warmth clashing against the guests' principled frost. Viewers at home, from bustling London kitchens to quiet Scottish crofts, lean closer to their screens, social media already buzzing with #Clooney versus Lorraine trending in minutes. As the exchange escalates, personal barbs creep in. Lorraine alludes to Clooney's high-profile divorces as charm offensives gone awry, eliciting a sharp inhale from the actor, who counters by questioning the show's glossy take on global issues, like when you breezed over the Yemen crisis last week for a baking segment. Gasps echo in the studio, the line crossed from professional sparring to pointed critique. Clooney's not yelling, far from it. His delivery is calm, controlled, the mark of a man who's negotiated ceasefires in war zones. But the subtext screams volumes. Lorraine, cheeks flushing beneath her flawless makeup, stammers a defense. We're morning TV, George, not Newsnight. We bring joy to people's days. But the rebuttal only fuels the fire, Clooney leaning back with a sigh that's more disappointed than angry. Joy built on avoidance isn't joy, Lorraine, it's escapism. And we've got enough of that in Hollywood already. The clock ticks mercilessly, the segment overdue by 2 minutes, yet neither yields. Locked in a verbal tango that's as mesmerizing as it is uncomfortable. This is no scripted drama, it's raw, real, the kind of television that births legends and lawsuits in equal measure. And as the producers finally signal frantically for commercial, the damage is done. The spark has become ablaze, setting the stage for an exit that's anything but graceful. With the interview now a full-blown confrontation, the studio atmosphere crackles like static before a thunderstorm, every eye riveted on George Clooney and Lorraine Kelly as they navigate the treacherous waters of their escalating debate. Clooney, his ocean's blue eyes narrowing with the focus of a director calling action on a pivotal scene, elaborates on his frustrations, drawing from the well of personal experience that has defined his post-stardom life. "Look, Lorraine, I've spent years with the Clooney Foundation for Justice, advocating for accountability in places where morning shows fear to tread. When we gloss over that for ratings, we become part of the problem my film rails against," he asserts. His gestures measured yet emphatic, hands slicing the air like a conductor demanding crescendo. The audience, a mix of loyal fans in floral blouses and skeptical retirees, is split, some nod in solemn agreement, others fidget, longing for the recipe segment promised in the listings. Lorraine, no stranger to tough spots after interviewing everyone from tearful contestants on Dancing on Ice to feisty politicians, rallies with her innate resilience, her voice pitching higher in defense. "George, with respect, not everyone's cut out for the front lines like you. We here at Lorraine celebrate the heroess, yourself included, while keeping it accessible. Isn't that the point of your activism, to reach the everyman?" It's a deft parry, invoking his humanitarian halo to blunt the blade. But Clooney, seasoned by Senate hearings and red carpet inquisitions, sees through it. Accessible, or avoidant? Last month, you had a segment on celebrity diets wild are for Bernita. That's not celebration, that's complicity and distraction. The accusation lands like a gut punch, Lorraine's practiced poise cracking just enough for a micro flinch, her fingers tightening on the cue cards that now seem like flimsy shields. Whispers from the crew filter in a Cutter adds, "Now." But the host, buoyed by the live wire energy that thrives on her show, pushes back harder. Complicity? That's a heavy word from a man whose films rake in millions while preaching poverty. "Spare us the sermon, Georgia, we're not the villains in your script." The retort draws a collective intake of breath, the studio falling into a hush broken only by the hum of overhead lights and the distant tick of the ITV clock. Clooney's face, chiseled by time yet unyielding, registers a mix of surprise and resolve. He's faced hecklers at fundraisers, paparazzi swarms, even Amal's formidable cross-examinations in court, but these being painted as Hollywood hypocrite on national telly stings with fresh venom. He counters swiftly, millions that fund real change, Lorraine not ratings that peddle fluff. If my words are a sermon, yours are the collection plate, empty of substance. The metaphor bites, eliciting uneasy laughter from a few bold souls in the crowd, but it widens the chasm, turning dialogue into duel. Social media erupts in real time. X, formerly Twitter, ablaze with clips captured on phones, #Clooney Walkout trending globally, memes of Clooney's scrubs morphing into gladiator armor flooding feeds. Back on set, the heat intensifies as Lorraine, her Scottish fire ignited, pivots to the personal, a tactic as old as talk shows themselves. "And what about your own plate, George? Marrying human rights lawyer Amal Noble? Yes, but isn't it the ultimate power couple flex, jetting to Lake Como while the world waits for your wisdom?" It's a low blow, laced with envy-tinged envy that only a jilted interviewer could muster, and Clooney's response is immediate, his voice dropping to a dangerous calm. "Flex? Amal and I fight every day for those without jets or a lake." Your insinuation cheapens that, and frankly, it's beneath this show. The audience erupts in murmurs, some applauding the clapback, others gasping at the audacity, as producers in the booth sweat bullets, fingers hovering over the emergency feed switch. Lorraine, sensing the tide turning against her, attempts salvage with humor. "Oh, George, you're breaking my heart and my ratings. Let's talk twins instead. Are they causing Clooney chaos yet?" But the pivot flops, Clooney unmoved, his gaze steady as a lighthouse in storm. Chaos? Try the chaos of ignored crises while we chat nappies. This interview was meant to discuss influencia. Perhaps we should examine yours. The riposte draws a sharp laugh from an unexpected quarto stagehand stifling a guffaw and the host's facade phrase further, her blush rivaling the one from that infamous 2022 week kissing scene chat with Julia Roberts. As the segment overruns by 5 minutes, the clash evolves from policy to personality, Clooney dissecting the show's format as feel-good fascism, a phrase that will haunt headlines for weeks. Lorraine fires salvos about celebrity privilege, easy to preach from a villa, harder from a studio on a budget, alluding to ITV's recent cuts that slashed her runtime in half, a sore spot she's only just begun to heal. The back and forth blurs into a symphony of sharp retorts, each one building on the last like dominoes toppling toward catastrophe. Viewers, glued to their sets, feel the vicarious thrill of the raw humanity of two titans colliding, egos and ideals in free fall. Yet amid the melee, glimmers of respect persist, Clooney's unyielding principles, Lorraine's unshakable spirit. But respect alone can't douse the flames as the argument peaks with Clooney accusing the media of selective outrage and Lorraine retorting with selective sainthood. The breaking point looms. The producer's pleas echo unheard, the audience holds collective breath, and in that suspended moment, the true cost of unscripted truth reveals itself not in victory, but in the wreckage left behind. The verbal volleys intensify, transforming the Lorraine set from a haven of homely chat into a coliseum of clashing convictions, where George Clooney's measured barbs meet Lorraine Kelly's fiery defenses in a spectacle that's equal parts riveting and regrettable. Clooney, channeling the intensity he brought to Syriana's corrupt corridors, presses his point with the precision of a surgeon. Lorraine, your show's reach is immense, 1.5 million daily. That's a platform for provocation, not just pastries. When you sideline substance for segments on scones, you erode trust in media altogether. His words, delivered with that trademark Clooney cadence, slow, deliberate, laced with Lake Como leisurea, carry the weight of his UN testimonies, making the critique feel less like an attack and more like an earnest entreaty. But Lorraine, forged in the fires of tabloid trenches and tabloid triumphs, won't yield her ground. She's interviewed icons from the Queen to Quentin Tarantino, emerging unscathed, and this Yankee upstart won't rewrite her narrative. Erode trust, George, we're the antidote to cynicism, bringing stars like you into living rooms, humanizing the headlines. Without us, your films premiere to crickets. She snaps back, her accent thickening with passion, hands gesturing wildly as if conducting an invisible orchestra of outrage. The audience, now fully invested, alternates between applause and awkward coughs, a microcosm of Britain's divided media landscape, half cheering the underdog host, half the principled powerhouse. In the wings, ITV execs pace like caged lions, phones vibrating with alerts from publicists and producers alike, the potential fallout already calculating in 6 figures. Clooney, undeterred, counters with a personal anecdote, his voice softening just a touch to underscore sincerity. Humanizing? I remember my first UK interview, on a show much like these. I talked Darfur for 10 minutes, then cut for tea tips. It felt like betrayal, Lorraine, and it still does. The revelation humanizes him further, peeling back the gloss to reveal scars from a career spent balance in blockbuster bucks with bleeding heart causes. Lorraine's eyes widen fractionally, a flicker of empathy battling her defensiveness, but pride propels her onward. Betrayal? That's dramatic, even for you. Georgia Oscar for Michael Clayton. Remember, we're mirrors, not makers of mess. The quip elicits scattered laughs, a brief reprieve, but Clooney seizes the momentum, his tone sharpening anew. Mirrors reflect, yes, but selectively. Your mirror shows me as charming Clooney, not the guy who lost friends to activism's backlash. That's not reflection, that's refraction. The optics metaphor lands solidly, drawing nods from the more cerebral viewers. While social feeds explode with analysis, Clooney dropping truth bombs. Lorraine clash versus Kelly slaying the sanctimony. Defend Lorraine. As the exchange barrels toward the 10-minute mark, personal stakes rise. Lorraine alludes to Clooney's 2018 Suburbicon flop as influence gone wrong, a dig that draws a rare chuckle from the actor, who reposts, "Flops teach more than hits. Lorraine, I like how your show's cuts mirror the very media monopolies you ignore." The reference to ITV's recent budget/essay her program have to 30 weeks, staff redeployed amid 220 redundancy essay hits below the belt, Lorraine's face paling beneath the powder. Low blow, Georgia, that's family's livelihoods, not fodder for your film, she exclaims, voice cracking with unfiltered hurt, the first crack in her armor revealing the toll of those heartbreaking changes she's publicly lamented. Clooney, sensing the overreach, softens momentarily. "I didn't mean to look, we're both in the trenches, but trenches dug by the same system." Yet the olive branch withers as Lorraine, rallied by raw emotion, unleashes, "Trenches? Try the front lines of falling ratings. Mr. Millionaire, your system critique rings hollow from a private jet perch. The class warfare angle ignites fresh fury, Clooney's cheeks flushing for the first time, his response a torrent. "Hollow? I've given up roles, endorsements, privacy for this fight. Your jet jabs are as cheap as the sensationalism you decry." The studio descends into chaos light, audience members craning necks, cameras zooming tighter on sweat-beaded brows and clenched jaws. Producers, faces ashen in the booth, mimes slashing throats for cut off, but the duo, locked in symbiotic standoff, ignore the signals, their words weaving a tapestry of mutual respect laced with resentment. Viewers at home, from Manchester mums multitasking laundry to Edinburgh elders nursing tea, devour the drama, call-in lines lighting up with polarized pleas, boot the smug yank. Versus Lorraine, let him speak. As barbs fly fast, Clooney on pandering to populism, Kelly on preachy privilege. The core conflict crystallizes, two worlds colliding, celebrity conscience versus common touch commentary, each valid yet volatile in opposition. Amid the melee, poignant pauses punctuate, like when Clooney concedes, "I admire your tenacity, Lorraine, it's why I came." Met with her rye, "And I your nervia, it's why you're leaving soon." Laughter ripples, a fragile bridge, but it buckles under the weight of unresolved rancor. The overrun clock's 15 minutes, the scheduled cooking demo abandoned, as the clash careens toward climax, every syllable a step closer to severance. In this uncharted territory, where ad-libs become anthems and asides ignite infernos, the true narrative emerges not of winners or losers, but of the high cost of candor in a curated world. And as the tension tautens to snapping point, the unthinkable beckons, an exit that will etch this morning into broadcasting's boldest annals.